Breeze Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another edition of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. I am still up here at Hallis live right now, reacting to some of the things that we got a chance here. By the way, shout out to y'all in the chat. Yeah, Kenny in the building coming through with the Europe Bears Junkie in the chat as well. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always, man. Hit that like button if you have not done so. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Listen, a lot to get into on today's show. Of course, the announcing of the Chicago Bears starters playing in the game versus the Buffalo Bills. Got to sit there and react to that. Also, some concerns that there may be on players who may not make the cut that have some big names on this team. Got to break all that down and more on today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Like I said, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Let's jump straight into this, man. Appreciate it, y'all. The starters are going to play versus the Buffalo Bills. We got that announced by Matt Eberflus. It's a good thing to hear. I'm glad that we're going to see the starters out there. There is some concern on my part from kind of where this starting unit is right now, but realistically, you have to start to get Caleb Williams some reps in there where he feels comfortable. You have to start to get Caleb Williams some reps in there where it feels like he's actually developing and learning. The reason that you don't feel great about it right now is because of the situation that you've been in at camp to this point. You've had an offensive line that has been in flux for most of this camp. There hasn't been a lot of stability there. You're hoping that Caleb Williams maybe can start to see some of that stability work in his favor. You're hoping that kind of the game situation puts you in a better situation moving forward, that Caleb Williams is going to start to get some answers there. But realistically speaking, right now where this team is at, there's not a great feeling around this offensive line. Practice today did not do anything to change the tide in that. I think that practice today was, I mean, the offense was out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it was an underwhelming practice on one side of the offense, and the defense, I mean, like, looked really good. And that's without major pieces out there. There was no Tyreek Stevenson. There was no Jaquan Brisker. There was no Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon has been out for quite some time to this point, right? Like, so there's no Montez Sweat as well. So you understand the concerns that people are having about the offense. I 110% understand, kind of where people's feelings are about this offense right now. But at the end of the day, you still need to see those reps. You still need to see them versus a defense that actually can do things against you, and see kind of what Caleb Williams ends up looking like out there. The hope is that he's going to be able to go out there and get the job done. That he's going to be able to go out there and get more consistent play on this offense when it matters the most. Now, whether that plays out that way, whether it ends up happening that way, we'll see. That's still a long way away. That's still, a concerning part right now for this Bears team. But as a whole, you're going up against a defense who consistently is finding its way in the backfield, with an offensive line that consistently isn't finding its way on the field. Some of this you kind of just have to deal with right now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like the fact that the Chicago Bears are starting Caleb Williams, even with some of the concerns on the offensive line right now? Do you feel like he can still get some good value? And this is the one thing that I've said about this consistently, right? That the value to me with Caleb Williams right now comes from him getting an opportunity to get into a huddle, him getting an opportunity. And my bad, I keep looking down, y'all. Freaking Restream is for some reason not showing me the chat and stuff like this. I know some of y'all are in there. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. But yeah, Restream is being very weird and finicky right now with how it's operating. But the set looks nice, so there's always that. But no, man, like I think that right now, kind of where this offense is right now, you need a situation where Caleb Williams can come in and not just get game reps, but get reps under center versus a real defense, versus NFL speed. Get reps with whatever the 5 guys that you're going to put out there is, versus a real defense, versus real speed. Not to say that the Bears, don't have a really good defense. I think that we could consistently say that they can, but at the end of the day, they can't touch him. There needs to be the real threat of like, uh-oh, here comes this guy. I need to move. I need to be able to maneuver myself out of the way to possibly try and set something up downfield, which we didn't see a good job done of today from the offense as well. Caleb Williams threw a couple of interceptions. One apparently to Kevin Byard. I had tweeted out that it was to Jalen Jones, but apparently it was to Kevin Byard. This was a little bit of discourse in the media room, so kind of interesting, the back and forth that we saw on that. But it was kind of funny because we all thought Jalen Jones. I saw 21. I 100% saw 21. Apparently, it was 31. Kevin Byard coming away with the pick. So good to see your starting team offense or defense be able to get involved there. You also had a throw to Elijah Hicks that was just it was a bad throw. Yeah, he's trying to force it in there. Keenan Allen. It was a little bit late. Elijah Hicks was all over that play. The very next play, tried to get it over the top to Gerald Everett. Elijah Hicks right there didn't end up picking it, tried to one-hand grab it, but didn't end up intercepting the football. But at the end of the day, right, to me, you're seeing these things because you're trying to simulate what real pressure is going to look like in a game. And he hasn't seen what real pressure is going to look like in a game. I don't think that you can take the steps forward offensively that you're hoping to take without seeing a real defense that's really trying to come after you. And it sounds like not only are we going to see a real defense that's really trying to get after Caleb here, but that the Chicago Bears are also going to be probably playing Caleb, I would assume, for a quarter, because to me, we've already heard that the Buffalo Bills intend to play their team through the first quarter. So at least one quarter. Why not get as much time with that first team out there as you can? This game, to me, is invaluable. I think that it would be an absolute mistake. And Flus kind of hinted at this. I don't know if he's going to end up doing this, but there was kind of a hint at this that, unless they go down and there's this like 65-play drive that ends in a touchdown. And I know he's being facetious when he says a 65-play drive. But like if there's this play that you go down and it ends in a touchdown, well, maybe then we'll pull him out. No. Let him play this quarter. Let him get these reps. Let him get under center. Let him set things up. That's what I want to see this Bears offense do on a consistent basis in this game, because these are things Caleb Williams has not done since high school. This is valuable time. I think that you wasted some valuable time in the Hall of Fame game, even though people are like, well, he's only going to be out there a series. Yeah, but he's out there for a series, setting up a play, calling a play, getting things right, getting things in order. That's stuff that he has not done. And so that's stuff that I want to see Caleb Williams do. It's kind of where this right now. I think that it's the most important thing that we can do is just get him comfortable, not only just there, but with the five guys that may be out there, because this may be the five offensemen that you have. By the way, real quick, as I've got finally the Twitter side up, I was trying to get the Twitter so I can see the numbers on both sides that I can let you guys know. Oh, well, in the chat. Live from Hallis Hall, in the chat. But no, I feel that you have to, that this is the most important time for Caleb Williams right now to get this opportunity and to get these reps in. Don't take that away from him if he goes down and scores a touchdown. The big question that I do have with this team right now is kind of, are they ready? Is this offense ready to go up against a Buffalo Bills defense like that? And I don't think that they are. That's why I think that there is not only just a tremendous amount of value in being able to put these guys together, but there's also a value in, coming back to practice after seeing where your deficiencies are to Shane Waldron. That's why I want to see this first team offense. We've played that first game, which is fine. You see the calls, you see some guys out there, you see Colin Johnson out there. There's some nice pieces that maybe end up helping you out in the long run. But at the end of the day, you learn nothing about your first team offense. And then you came back to a week of practice that has been, let's be honest, this has been probably one of the more lackluster weeks we've seen practice-wise right now. So you come back to a lackluster week of practice. You come back to a week of practice, is like, all right, guys played football out there. And then you're going into a game versus the Buffalo Bills with a ton of injury questions. Now, had you have played guys in that first game, maybe you could have an idea of how to scheme things up. But to me now, coming into this game, the benefit to Shane Waldron is this is probably the offensive line you're working with. The starting line we had today was Braxton Jones, left tackle, left guard Tevin Jenkins, center Coleman Shelton, right guard Ryan Bates, right tackle was Darnell Wright for a period. Darnell Wright ended up getting banged up a little bit. Again, he got rolled up yesterday on by I want to say it was D-Walk, if I'm not mistaken. But right, so he ends up missing some time. A couple days, or no, yesterday. Yesterday, he ends up missing. Yesterday, gets out there today, plays a series, isn't able to go. I wonder how many of some of these injuries and different things that we've seen here are just, he got banged up, and if this was during the season, we'd see him go out there and play it. Darnell Wright's a guy who played with basically an arm and a half last season. I think he's more than willing to go out there and play when injured. I'm not worried about him being out there or not. I think that he'll be available for this game as well, although Flus did say this is kind of for starters that are available. But more than likely, that's the offensive line as this is trending, and especially with us getting an update on Nate Davis, that's the offensive line you're running out there with. That's the group that you have right now that is going to be able to go out there and do something on the football field. Is that a great situation for you to be in? Not really. But it's the situation that you're in, and I think, to me, this is a great time for Shane Waldron to be able to go out there and scheme some things up for this young offense, to be able to go out there and try and set some things up for an offense that he's realistically going to have. I love this dream perfect scenario that the Bears hope that they're going to be in. I love this perfect scenario of everyone being healthy, and oh my God, here we go. This is going to be just what the team needed, but that's not real. That's not real. That's not where we're at right now. That's not the offensive line we have on the field. So I like the fact that Shane Waldron is going to get to see this offensive line in action. Outside of that, then come back to the drawing board, hopefully draw some things up that are going to be successful for this team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How beneficial do you think this Bills game is going to be to the Chicago Bears, man? Hit that like button. Like I said, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Now to talk about some of the interesting nuggets that we did get out of not only the Flus interview, but just what we've seen up at practice and kind of where we're trending. And yeah, I know somebody said you should change the name of the show to the Nate Davis Show because of how much you talk about Nate Davis. Listen, it's the biggest story right now. Your $10 million right guard, is not going to be out there. And we got an update today, 4 days after he had the setback. Remember this. The practice was Sunday. Sunday was the day where he had the setback and had to take the pads off, had to go with the trainer, all of that stuff. That was Sunday. Could have said then, this is going to be a week-to-week situation. Could have said then, this is going to be something that is going to take some time. Didn't say it then. 4 days later, we hear from Flus. Because remember, that happened Sunday. We heard from Flus Monday. Now we're here at Thursday, and now we hear from Matt Eberflus. This is a week-to-week situation, which means you're probably back at square one or back at the drawing board here with the Nate Davis situation. You're at ground zero trying to ramp him back up. And now he's week-to-week. There's only week-to-week left. You got this week with the game coming up. He's not going to be out there. You've got a week where maybe you try to get him back going, but probably not because he's week to week right now, which would make you assume that it's probably going to be a little bit longer that we're dealing with a soft tissue injury. And then there's another week after that, and that's your preseason. You're probably not going to be in a spot, especially after Matt Eberflus said, that I don't believe the guys can should hold their position just because they're injured. Like if you're not out there, if you're not available, that plays into this as well. That is massive. That is a huge statement by Matt Eberflus, basically to say, hey, listen, just because he's hurt right now doesn't mean that he's going to automatically be the starter when he's healthy. Now, the thing that is working in Nate Davis's favor right now is the fact that, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Ryan Bates has overwhelmed me at the right guard position. If there was a guy on this team right now who was already showing that he could be at the level or better than Nate Davis wouldn't be a topic. I think that Nate Davis wouldn't be a part of this team. That guy is not on the roster right now. To me, right now, this is the first week realistically, so you have to give him some time to work himself into it. This is the first week realistically that Ryan Bates is getting the opportunity to just focus on just being a right guard. This is the first time he's getting to do that in this training camp. So maybe he's working himself back in, but we know he's more comfortable in that position. But at this point, Ryan Bates looks like a backup right guard. He looks like somebody that you would want to bring in that can be solid to back up a dude that's better. I know people don't want to hear that because you went out and you traded for Ryan Bates. You gave up draft capital. He's got to be the starting center. At no point did he look like he was elite at being the starting center. At no point does he look like he's elite at being the best option you have if everybody's healthy at right guard. But I think that's going to take time. Maybe you got to work yourself back into that. New offense, new calls, all those things, not doing it from the center position. Maybe it's a little bit different. That's going to take some time. I'm okay with waiting on that realistically. I'm fine with that, being the case here. But to me, right, when you talk about guys like Ryan Bates and stuff like that, that's why I talked about this offensive line. This game to me is important. It's why I want to see them play a full quarter, because this is the line that you may end up seeing if this thing does linger week to week. This might be your starting line heading into the season, because at some point, Matt Eberflus is going to have to say or have the conversation around, you know what, listen, we like Nate. We want Nate to be a part of this team. We think that Nate does bring some really good things. We think that Nate does some really good things. But at the end of the day, Nate Davis is not the answer here. Nate Davis is not getting the job done here. And so we're going to go with the guy who can be out there consistently. Now, the part that's tough about this, and if you do make a call like that, I don't think you should cut Nate Davis. You don't have a ton of depth at that position. You're talking about a guy like Ja'Tyre Carter coming in as the backup. I don't think that he's somebody that you want to just move on from, especially with the amount of money that you have committed to him. But does he just accept being a backup? Is that going to be something that he's okay with? And I know people are like, well, it's his job. He doesn't have a choice but to accept being a backup. Yeah, but if you get to the port where Nate Davis is basically just a backup, are you going to get the same level of play out of him as you would get with him being named the starter? That's a risk you have to manage. That's something you have to deal with. But, I mean, listen, right now you're in a spot where I know it's a tough situation to say, but like, there's a couple guys on this roster where you can see the Bears coaching staff basically just going, we don't know what to do with you. There's a couple of guys on this roster that literally you can see the Bears coaching staff just going, I mean, you're a player. You're out there. Thank you. But at this point, we're kind of at the end of this road, and we're just waiting for you to drive off of it. I think Nate Davis may end up being one of those guys, and I think it's for the best of the team. To me, it's for the best of Caleb Williams. It's for the best of this football team moving forward. Flus keeps talking about continuity. There is no continuity on this team when I'm swapping in Ryan Bates at center, Coleman Shelton at center. And the injuries to some of these guys, I kind of understand, but it's. This is my real take. I said this on the Chicago Bears podcast. This is my real takeaway from this whole situation that the Bears are in right now. This is the team you wanted to field. This is the team that Ryan Poles wanted to put on the field. What is that team going to be able to do? What is that young quarterback going to be able to do? And right now, you're putting all your chips in. You're pushing everything in that you have. You're putting everything on black. You're saying, Caleb Williams, you have to be good enough to overcome the fluctuations that are going to happen at offensive line. You have to be good enough to overcome some of the ups and downs that are going to happen during this season at offensive line. And I talked about the reason why on a previous episode when breaking down this O-line. At the end of the day, guess what? I don't have questions on Braxton Jones. I know who he is. I don't have questions on Tevin Jenkins. I know who he is. He's probably not going to be out there for 17 games. I don't have questions. Maybe Coleman Shelton and Ryan Bates, you got a couple questions on, but I don't have questions on Nate Davis. Nate Davis is exactly who they said he was when he left Tennessee. Nate Davis is exactly that person this season. And maybe it's reading a little bit too much into it, but my God, if you saw him out there on the battle ropes when he's like supposed to be working out, I think it was, I forget who it was, Ian Wheeler or one of those guys was out there doing the ropes next to him, and he's going at it. Right? Like, and Nate Davis is like, oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, I mean, a little limp. They got pills for that. You know what I'm saying? That might have been an AO. I might need to hold on. And there you go. But you've gotten to the point where you just have to look at this Bears team and say, this is the team Ryan Poles wanted to put on the field. He opted to go for the wide receivers, for the weaponry, and not go for the line. Yurko said this on the Chicago Bears podcast. He built the team backwards. That's okay. We've seen teams do that. It's worked for some teams. The Bengals did that. It worked. They got to a Super Bowl. Now, Joe Burrow's a little bit, banged up. He's died a couple of seasons. But at the end of the day, Caleb Williams may be a little bit more mobile than Joe Burrow is. But what you're doing is saying, we're betting on black. We're betting on Caleb. Cue the Bulls music. Cue Michael Jordan's music. By the way, 97 in here on the YouTube side, man. 28 likes. Hit that like button if you haven't done so. Subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Let me know if you agree with me or not. They're putting all their chips on Caleb Williams, which is fine. But you got to be right. He's got to navigate this season. He's got to figure things out this season. It's all on his shoulders with a subpar offensive line. And let's call a spade a spade. At this point, it's a subpar offensive line. You know what I mean? This Bears team is putting the team out on the field that they wanted to field. They wanted Keenan Allen. They wanted Rome Odunze. I'm fine with you going out and getting them. But the way that you addressed the offensive line was by drafting a left tackle, a young left tackle who may be nice, but who is from Yale, that you knew coming into the season wasn't going to be able to go through most of your program because he had a quad injury, because he was coming off a quad surgery. That was you addressing your offensive line. Maybe he's better. Maybe he is. Maybe he's the left tackle of the future, and we're not going to talk about this long term. He'll be starting by the second half of the season. But once again, you've built this offensive line on maybes consistently. Maybe Nate Davis practice. Maybe Nate Davis will be healthy. Maybe Tevin Jenkins will be healthy. Maybe we got two centers out there that can snap the football and block. Maybe Braxton Jones can overcome the bull rush. Maybe Karan Amageji will be able to get out on the field. Your entire offensive line is built on maybes. So you tell me. You tell me where you're at with this. I'm fine with you going this direction, but when it comes up, when Caleb Williams has to be mobile, when he has to move around, when he has to, and maybe you feel better about doing it this way because of what you saw from Caleb in college, right? He was able to do that. Caleb Williams was a phenomenal quarterback in college without offensive line protection. He was able to navigate that. He did not have all the time in the world. That is something that is important at the NFL level. Offensive linemen get hurt, guys. Like, I'm not even sitting here telling you like guys are faking it, or I think that guys are legitimately hurt. Offensive linemen get hurt. I think that there are some situations that we're seeing play out there that maybe it would be more of the Bears. To me, you might see more of a situation where the Bears are maybe being overly cautious. They're doing the little overbearing parent thing a little bit. I could see that being true with where the team is right now. I could see them saying, we're going to take as much of the time as we can and just let guys heal up and let guys get better because we don't want to risk guys going out there and hurting them. So I could see that. 100% I could. But I also think that there's something to be said about, at a certain point, it's put up or shut up time. And we haven't seen that from this. We haven't seen that really push from this Bears coaching staff. Maybe we're starting to see that push on the Nate Davis side, right? Maybe you're starting to see that kind of happen, but you haven't seen a ton of that. You haven't seen a ton of call for that. And hopefully we're getting to that point now where it is, hey, listen, I appreciate you coming through. I appreciate you playing the work version of our game, even though you really didn't play it as well as we would have liked. We'll see you on the flip side. I don't know. Again, I don't think that you're in a position right now where Nate Davis can be a guy that you talk about as a cut candidate. I don't think that you're there, but I do think that you kind of have to start to look at Nate Davis and say, what are you realistically giving us? What are you giving us on a consistent basis? I do think that that's a conversation that has to be had. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Another guy that I have a lot of question marks on, and I'm trying to get this thing to work here. It's like weird. It's like you got to freaking, okay. How about you pause there? You gotta space that thing up. I know this is all happening live, but don't worry about it. Little like and subscribe there. There you go. There we go. There we go. Now we got it working. All right. I have a lot of concern by what I've seen from the Velus Jones front. And it's for one reason. It's starting to feel like this Bears coaching staff is just trying to figure out what to do with them. It's starting to feel like this Bears coaching staff is literally just like, at this point, we don't even know where to put you. And the reason that I say that is because we got the report that the Chicago Bears were trying out Velus Jones at running back, right? Makes sense. You're trying him out at running back. We've talked about him being a guy who can get to the outside and go out there and dominate. I'm glad that you're actually testing things out with him at running back. I think that this makes sense for where this team is at right now. But while they're testing him out at running back, they have just about fully taken him off of all of his kickoff duties. They have just about taken him off of all of, and remember, on special teams, he was going both ways. He was not only on the offensive side of special teams, or on the receiving side of special teams, but also on the defensive side of special teams. Now we've seen him take off the defensive side of special teams. He's been just about completely taken off of the kickoff side of special teams. Dare I say, I don't know if there's a spot for Velus Jones on this team, guys. I don't know if there's a spot for Velus Jones on this team. Because it's not like, here's the thing that's funny to me. Everybody's like, oh, the two comments that I've gotten when I talked about Velus, being moved to a running back position. One, the number one comment was, well, they're just testing him out at running back because the return play is basically just a running back play. And so they want him to understand how to run through the line. I would understand that. I could see that. I could also almost follow that line of thinking. If just about every play that Velus Jones was running wasn't to the outside, which is fine. That's where his speed is best used. He's got really good outside speed. If you get him outside the tackles, you know that he can turn it upfield and make something happen. A lot of his big plays, end arounds, right, short pitches, different things like that, screen passes on the outside that he's able to get upfield. I could almost deal with that. And the other thing that people keep telling me about Velus Jones is that they moved him there so that there was room to bring other wide receivers on the roster and he had a spot to compete at. I'm going to tell you this right now, guys. There's no spot in that running back room for him to compete. There are 5 running backs in that room right now, even with the ones dealing with injury. Well, I guess 6 now with Velus. And he's 6. He's the odd man out. He's the guy that you're looking at going, we're good. I know that he is this, in people's minds, he is this dynamic weapon. If we can just get the ball in his hands, he's going to go out there and dominate. And maybe he proves me wrong. Flus did say he's going to get some running back snaps in the Bills game. So maybe he ends up proving me wrong, and he's a phenomenal running back. But J-Mac, I asked J-Mac about him. I said, what do you think? He said his pad level's still too high. He's only been playing the position for 3 weeks. Flus talked about today, right? Like he has no experience with the blocking aspect of it. I get it. We're just trying to turn this guy into something. But guys, at a certain point, you gotta sit there and be realistic about this. Ian Wheeler came back to practice and immediately hit the ground running. Literally. Ian Wheeler is in a better spot to make this team right now than Velus Jones. And there's some people that are like, he's a third-round pick. They're going to do everything they can to keep him. What else are you going to do? He's a kick returner. That's all he is. He's a kick returner. Either let him be a kick returner or don't. But the difference is, to those people who were like, well, this is why they're putting Velus in at the running back position so that they can see if he's, going to be able to go out there and run the football between the tackles and stuff like that. That's what Khalil Herbert's doing. And I know I talked about, right, there's not a real way that Khalil Herbert makes this team. But in my mind, that was because it seemed like there was no way that Velus Jones didn't make the team. And now Khalil Herbert has gotten back there on kickoff because it is more of a running back play. It is like running up the middle through the tackles. And Khalil Herbert's good at that. Kind of. He's better outside zone too. But at least he has experience doing that. I don't know. I'm out of spots to fit Velus into this team unless it's the kick return and they took him off of that. He's not going to be your punt returner. He's not really a wide receiver. He kind of is. He could have made the team as a wide receiver. I'd have been fine with that because, again, gadget plays, different things like that. But he's not doing anything as far as being a wide receiver right now, at least during this block. Again, Flu said that this was something they were testing out from this block to the next block, and they'll reevaluate it. Basically, the block is from Sunday's practice to the Buffalo Bills game. They'll reevaluate it after that. But it almost feels like the Bears are like, dog, give us something. And it feels like they're that way with a couple of different players on the team, Nate Davis being one of them, Velus Jones being one of them, right? Feels like they're that way with a couple of players on the team. But Velus just, dare I say, and I know that Ryan Poles probably doesn't want to do it because he's a third-round pick, 2 years ago? But dare I say, you're going to have to, you're almost at a spot where you're going to have to cut this guy. There's not really a better answer. Because on top of Velus not playing as well, not doing a ton, and being moved around all through all the positions there, you've also got a guy like Colin Johnson who first play of the kickoff rule, he's making a play. Also, he's going out there catching the football and being a big body wide receiver. That seems like he could be utilized more as you continue to move forward. Also, he's on the kickoff rule. He could be used as a return guy, heck, if you needed to, right? He's got good speed. Where are you? So the wide receiver room seems locked up. If Colin Johnson makes the team, I don't know if he will or not. And then you would have to think that, you would have to think that the running back room is 100% locked up. Now there's new people coming in on the kickoff rule. Where's he fit? Somebody tell me if I'm tweaking here. That's my question. Somebody tell me if I'm tweaking. There's a lot of questions heading into this Buffalo Bills game, man. There's a lot of questions on this offense right now. There's a lot of questions on the Chicago Bears as a whole. Hopefully they're able to answer some of them soon. Definitely sooner than later would be a great scenario. But we haven't seen a lot of sooner and later playing out for this team right now. What the heck is my computer doing? My computer is having a stroke right now. You good? You breathing again? All right. Hey, all right. Everything's back. Okay. Here we go. I'm trying to see you guys' comments and stuff. I don't know. Restream been weird, man. Restream has been real weird. I was trying to see you guys' comments. Beck said soft tissue injury or just overall soft tissue. What a great comment. O-line has been an issue for years, yet we hold on to Velus, Numb AZ, yeah, for sure. Baki said, it's like we said, if Velus makes the team, he's got some info on somebody. And bro, picture, something. He's got something. He's got something, bro. I don't know. You're tweaking if you think Herbert won't make this team. Bro, listen, look, I think that he's got a better shot now than he did before that game. I just do. I think that they see him as more of a value returning the football and being that kind of guy and being another running back in this room than they see him as a running back. I do love the fact that everybody has this like affinity to Khalil Herbert, like Khalil Herbert's getting re-signed next year. That is my favorite thing among everybody. That everybody's freaking losing their minds at Khalil Herbert, like Khalil Herbert's getting re-signed next year. Guys, he's not coming back. It's fine. you either move on from him now and maybe get something for him, or you don't. Yeah, I mean, he's not coming back this year. So, have that out there. Silver Harvest with the comment said there were questions if Travis Homer would make the team this year before TC started, especially with Felton being brought in. I don't think there were ever questions on Homer because of Homer being a three-phase special teamer. I don't know if there were ever questions on Homer because of Homer being a three-phase special teamer. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's more valuable to them, and I guess having him as a running back as well than not. Pat, shall we place a gentleman's bet? He will be in navy and orange in 2025. I'm not a gambling man, my guy, but I will be on the other side of that he will not be in navy and orange in 2025. For what? What are you paying more running backs for? What is y'all think with running backs? What is y'all thing with running backs, dog? Y'all love running backs. I've never seen a group of people, I'm not just talking about Breeze Nation, I'm talking about Bears fan as a whole, just like in love with the running back position. I get it. It's the only thing that we've ever seen that has had real success here. But guys, let's get into the modern NFL. It's okay to use these guys like they're a dime a dozen, because guess what? They're a dime a dozen. I've been dealing with the running back conversation for so long. Good grief. You know who's getting all those snaps that we want to re-sign Khalil Herbert for? DeAndre Swift. Well, what if DeAndre Swift gets hurt? Ian Wheeler, Roshan Johnson, Demetric Felton. Silver Harbor said, because Bears have great running backs and linebackers, like you said. I get it. But you think he's going to re-sign here for $1 million? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Pablo P said, what's with you 100% hating on the running back position for so long? I'm telling you what the league is telling you. It's not hate. There's a reason that every running back and their mama was crying last year because guys weren't getting paid. I'm telling you what the NFL is telling you. Also, every single time you see one of these big name running backs get the bag, what do you get, a year, 2 out of it? Like and then they just go draft the next guy, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, this dude's pretty good. You got to pay him long term. We've done this already. I have this argument every 3 years. Jordan Howard, oh my God, you got to keep him. David Montgomery's a year. This dude's pretty good. I don't know. I really like this Montgomery kid. David Montgomery leaves. Oh my God, what are you gonna do? Khalil Herbert steps in. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL that year. Oh, this Khalil Herbert guy's pretty good. Now Khalil Herbert's up for bed. Oh my God, what are you gonna do? How many times we got to see this work in our favor for us to finally get on board with what's happening? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It's not hate. It's what the league is doing. CMC got the bag and has been injury-free since. Actually, wasn't CMC hurt like 6 games last year? And they lost all of them? Wasn't he hurt like 6 games last year and they lost literally everyone? That skid that the 49ers went on, wasn't that a part of that? Him and Deebo Samuel, who's also a running back. What Baki say? Pat, Bears sign a running back for $1.99 and some chips with cheese. Pat, that's too much for a running back. Nah, listen, I'm just saying, bro. Like, maybe there's one or two guys that you do. Maybe there's one or two guys, but y'all be acting like any running back that we put in this building has got to be the godsend. I'm telling you, I've said this consistently. I've gotten off topic here a little bit, but I've said this consistently. 5 running backs all time that I'm paying. Give me Barry, give me Walter, give me AP. I vary on Derrick Henry. I kind of go back and forth on Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have this vast list of guys that I'm like, I gotta have that guy on my team. Like, there's certain guys that transcend it, and Marshall Faulk. Give me Marshall Faulk. There's certain guys that transcend it. Most of them had bad offensive lines. CMC is an impressive running back. But CMC is not Khalil Herbert. Y'all arguing for Khalil Herbert like he's CMC out here. That's my thing. Hey, Dark Mind, CMC got hurt yesterday, didn't he? I think he did, actually. I think he did. I don't know, man. It's not my thing. It's not a position that I would invest in. But hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. 126 in the building, 51 likes on the video. Hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the page. I for some reason my computer tripped. Actually, we got more than that. We got, what the heck is this thing doing, bro? This mug is tweaking. We actually got over 200 in a chat. 200, over 100 on the Twitter side as well, man. Appreciate y'all for showing love. KD said, I feel like I've heard this debate 100 times. Why do y'all keep bringing this up? Bro. I just don't, bro. It cracks me up every time. Every time. It's Crimson. You probably want to move on to a new topic. This won't age well. Won't age what well? If they wanted to re-sign Khalil Herbert, he'd be re-signed. If they value Khalil Herbert the way you value Khalil Herbert, DeAndre Swift wouldn't be here. There's no age well. He's already 1 foot out the door. This is a fan opinion. This is not the league opinion. And I try to go by how the league moves in business decisions. No Shady? No, Shady wouldn't be on my list. Shady a dog, though. Shady a dog, though. Shady a dog, though. I'm not going to disrespect Shady. We keep bringing it, Pablo P. We keep bringing it up because it's going to break Pat one day. It's never going to break me. My opinion's the same. It is what it is, man. And let me get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love, man. I got to get to the crib. If any news breaks, if anything changes, we will, of course, keep you updated here on the Windy City Breeze. Like I said, going to be interesting. Glad that the starters are playing. We'll be live for Saturday's game here on the Windy City Breeze. So make sure that you're here live for the game. We're going to do a little watch party as well. So tap in with us on that. And of course, I'll be live over on ESPN on the post game show with Jeff Meller and Jason McKee. So tap in with us there as well. I appreciate every single one of you who rocks with